Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, February 13th, 2019. You're listening to RadioFreeRadford.com. While you're at it, go ahead and find us on Facebook and like us on there. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Free Raddy and Radio Free Radford. On Instagram, like us, comment, hashtag us, DM us. I don't think there's more social media things out there to do, right? I tell you. And we'll talk more about our guest here with us this morning and a lot of things happening around campus. But it is windy out there if you have stepped out and about. Like myself, if you have 8 a.m.s. Anyway, wind advisory, until 5 p.m. today with the high of 45, feeling more like the 30s than anything else, overnight low of 28. Sunny skies will be dominating most of the area, so there is some good news out there. So if you do have plans being out and about, just please hold on to your hat and gear and all that stuff to be. This morning we've got a very familiar voice here with us. You catch him on Hot Takes with Holmes every Tuesday from 2 to 3. Isaiah Addair joining me here once again, so glad to have you and good morning.
Yeah, good morning, glad to be back.
Alrighty, glad you're here with us. So first of all, you kind of messaged me and said you, I think you mentioned before the last time you were on, you're part of the Chi Alpha organization. Before you kind of get to that, explain what that is and how can people kind of get involved with that.
So Chi Alpha, our most frequent question is it a frat?
Okay.
It sounds like
okay.
Greek life. I actually joined it last year. The day I moved in at Radford last year, I had a friend that was like, "Hey, come try this out." They were having a house party. Mm-hmm. So I showed up and it was just like drinking coffee and smoothies, and it was some Christian hip hop music bumping in the yard. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. So I was like, "This is something that I could." That I could get behind. So I was actually there until I'm trying to think, it was probably about midnight, 12:30.
Yeah. I'm
just talking to people, and the next morning I had to get up early to drive back home to go to church. And I was like, oh, that's all right. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as church ended, they're having another house party. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go back. So then just got involved. I started having like regular meetings with some of the leaders in the group and started going to their Bible studies. That was on the one I went to last year was on Wednesdays. I actually went to all of them for a short time, but started going to the one on Wednesdays, and the service that they called Encounter. They don't really call it as much as that anymore. We called it Encounter on Monday nights. And after a little while, we just started the conversation of like the process of becoming a leader, because all it is really is just showing up, being active, and just really showing where your heart's at spiritually, and just being able, like there's an acronym they have called FAT, and it's faithful, available, and teachable. And those three things are the things they look for in leaders. So this year I've just been spending the year so far trying to lead a diverse group of guys, which was my goal personally, was to have a group of guys that, wasn't just because our ministry, this might sound really strange, but our ministry doesn't have much diversity. It's mostly white females and with a decent sized group of white males, but not much minority mixture or anything. So my group, my co-leaders, our focus was to try to get more minority peoples into our life group to just pretty much show them God's love, especially the way the world is now. Sure. Which we have done that. We've done a pretty decent job of it. Obviously room for improvement and everything. We have our service Monday night. We have a prayer service, starts at 7:15 to 7:45 in McGuffey, usually right outside 203. Then our service starts at 8 o'clock on Mondays in McGuffey 203. And then we have girls and guys life groups, which is just Bible studies, are separated Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So I lead mine on Wednesday nights at 7. There's a girl group led by... I know one of them, I think there might be two on Wednesday night for girls. One of them is led by a girl named Paige Dewey. She is a senior. Then Tuesday nights, two of my close friends actually lead the guys group on Wednesday night. Okay. And I think, I'm not sure where I'm talking about Tuesday night, never mind. My two friends I lead the one on Wednesday night. Okay. Two friends lead the guys one on Tuesday night. I'm not sure where that one is. I'm pretty sure the girls on Tuesday night, though, meet at... Moffitt, and then on Wednesday we meet at Washington, and Thursday there's another group, and I believe they also meet at Washington, another guys, another girls group. So we kind of try to keep it, it to where the groups are relatively small. Doesn't always happen like that, But we just enjoy having people. So we sit down and we have a study. Sometimes our pastor and his wife have written it up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Virginia Tech's pastor's written it up because this is our first year as a Radford Chi Alpha, actually.
Oh, wow.
Before then, we were part of Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes me and my co-leader, we just sit back and we're like, okay, we're going to do this and do that. And tonight, we actually just decided to decompress as a ministry this week, and we're just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's interested, we're at 7 o'clock. We're going to be meeting at my place, 601 K Calhoun Street.
Okay.
Then at 8 o'clock or 8:30, whenever we get done eating, because me and my co-leaders are cooking for everyone.
Okay.
When we get done eating, we're going to be heading to the game room to bowl. So could be fun.
That's quite interesting for sure. Y'all are a very busy group. Every night something going on, which is, and especially, and you're putting a positive message out for those who are trying to maybe undetermined of if their faith really is truly, and so forth. Be it. Now you've got Monday through Thursday. So what is it like on the weekends? Are y'all still, do you have to come up with next, like the week coming up as agenda, or is it more like kind of like on the side type things, or?
It's a little interesting because the weekends is when it gets more. It's like the weekends are when it gets more fun and less serious.
Okay.
So Fridays we have events typically. We don't have one this Friday.
Okay.
But last Friday we had like bubble soccer. So you put the big. We were in the mat courts in the gym.
Okay.
With the big, inflatable things where you can just run into people and knock them out. We played soccer with those, and it was fun. We had a good turnout. We've done karaoke in the Bonnie.
Okay.
We have done like some kind of, it's a spike ball tournament on Muse Quad.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just have weird events. Sometimes like just like a movie night, or like before Thanksgiving, a huge Thanksgiving meal with like 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
We have stuff like that. And it's usually planned ahead.
Okay.
So you could reach out to anyone in Chi Alpha, the Chi Alpha Facebook page or Instagram, or just grab somebody and ask them if they know Ty Candidate, Caleb Lambert, or Isaiah Addair. And most people on campus know one of us.
Yes.
Or know someone that knows one of us.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, and then Saturday we don't really do much, and Sunday people just carpool to church, which I go to church back home, so I'm not really involved with the local, carpooling.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting and it's fun. There's always something, like you said, always something to do.
Yeah, it seems like for sure. And man, if people are listening this morning, get involved with this ministry here. Sounds like I said, positive vibes here with you. On that note. And so, again, you said you've been with us for, a year, correct? Mm-hmm. Is that how long you've been put now? How did you kind of hear the spike about, this is something I really want to go for, my passion's calling me for it?
So you're talking about like RFR as a whole?
Well, or Chi Alpha, and then we can get to IFR.
Okay, this Chi Alpha, it was, and it was kind of interesting because not many people know this, and it's kind of weird to talk about on air, but I've talked to 100-some people about it before. I was actually, I went to school in North Carolina.
Okay.
And actually got married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and 3 weeks into the relationship, I found out later on she was cheating on me and she was lying to her parents about like everything in her life and my life as well. I actually almost got murdered by her family,
oh my goodness.
Her mom, dad, and brother, because they, she was telling me she was going to see them, and she was actually going to see this other dude that was in her hometown. So, they thought I was keeping her home. Every time I was at work, and even sometimes when I wasn't, like she said she was going to go visit her family, and so both sides are being lied to, and I actually was almost murdered. That's why I transferred to Radford because it's close to home. I know some people here, like Blake Holmes, that I do hot days with Holmes with. We were really close friends through high school, so I transferred here to be closer to him and just know people and be away from that that mess. So that's what brought me to Radford. When I got here, I was in a dark place. I wouldn't say necessarily depressed, but really just questioning a lot of things about life, and not necessarily my faith either. But I just had questions, and I had questions about like why, I thought I did everything right, and it comes to I almost lost my life because I got married at 19, and it's weird. It's weird how that stuff happens. But I just found a group that was accepting, and a lot of people, especially in college, they meet a 19-year-old that's already had a failed marriage. Like there's a stigma on that. But that group, there was just no judgment, and the whole college was messed up anyway. I didn't want to get involved in a Christian ministry in college after that, because I was actually part of one and had a Bible study at that college.
Oh, okay.
But was kicked out because of a disagreement I had with them on the hot topic of homosexuality, of all things. So just a disagreement, and I was kind of pushed out of the door there. I was given an ultimatum, but I decided not to, risk my integrity for just agreeing with someone over something so trivial. So So I came here, didn't want to get involved, got involved anyway, and it just kind of snowballed from there with just, the connections and just seeing how people's lives are being changed, and I wanted to be part of it.
Absolutely. And then here you are now, and we'll talk about RFR, and I think we briefly mentioned it last time, but what kind of sparked your interest in getting in with radio? Because I think you said you already knew Blake already as you went through school and stuff, so.
I think the thing was more so, just timing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, excuse me. So when I was in high school, my freshman or more junior year to senior year, me and Blake actually wrote for our high school newspaper together.
Okay.
So we did a lot of articles separately, but we weekly or at least bi-weekly wrote an article together.
Okay.
And it was sports related. 9 times out of 10 was sports related.
Yeah. And
it was just our hot takes and what we thought was going to take place around the NFL and NBA and what have you, So when I came to Radford my freshman year, we were away, so we talked often, but he didn't have his RFR show because he honestly didn't know about it, I don't think, until Tristan took over and everything changed.
Right.
He didn't really know about it, and then I transferred here, and it was like my first week here, my first or second week. He was like, he just called me up. He was like, "How would you feel about doing a radio show?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Just a sports show." And I didn't really think about it because all I could think about was already spent 3 years doing the same thing in paper form, or it was more of a blog. So I was like, "Yeah, I mean, why not?" And there were times where I was like, "Oh, man, it's so time consuming." And other times, like if I missed a show for something, if something came up, I'm like, man, like I just missed out on something that was just so fun. You can tell that it was there was an absence there in that. So
for sure,
kind of got hooked.
Yeah.
And I appreciate Blake for dragging me back into journalism because I thought I left it in high school.
Right, and you get back at it again.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it.
That's awesome for sure. And of course, like I said, you all had changed your times last semester from in the morning. Now here you are in the afternoon. All right, and now of course he's a senior this year. Have you been discussing possibilities of taking this over and having a co-host with you next year? Because I know you'll be a senior graduating in the fall next year. So.
Yeah. That's also strange. So where we're doing hot takes with Holmes now, right? So in a way, I would kind of like, and I'll have more flexibility, right? Okay. Since he's retiring in May, I'm only taking 4 classes next fall. Right now. So I will have more flexibility when it comes to that. But I don't know, in my mind, it's kind of like a passing of the torch kind of thing. Because,
right.
Me and Blake have a mutual friend. I actually introduced him to Blake, and it's a friend that I met through Chi Alpha of all places.
There you go.
And he's a sophomore. He's an RA and his name's Raymond Radford.
Okay.
And really, bubbly red-haired guy.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy, but he's interested in creating his own like hot takes RFR show, hopefully next year. So I'm kind of trying to talk to him about that and, kind of put a little idea in his ear.
There you go.
I can help you with the transition if you want to. Just for, just to kind of ease him into it since I've done it for, this is my, my second year at RFR. So, and then 3 years of journalism prior. And he has journalism experience, but not necessarily on-air experience. So, I don't know. I'm trying to put the idea in his ear that I can help you transition. So, it's not going to be hot takes with Holmes, but I'm still going to, kind of have my fix. I see what
you're saying.
And just so he'll be set up to kind of, learn the ropes and just be more comfortable with it after I graduate.
Absolutely. Of course, I'm sure you're going to probably miss Blake, but of course you all have continued mutual contact, so that's always, any bad side come to it, you always go to him, I'd imagine. So, already switching gears up, you've done told a very inspirational story, 2 of them already this morning, so I really have enjoyed that. And those who are listening on, listening on later in this podcast, once it's up and going on YouTube. So, switching gears now, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Are you having any plans tomorrow with that, or are you just going to say, let's go on the next day?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never been a fan of Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I haven't either.
The only time I ever went out on Valentine's Day, well, I think I did when I was married. But anyway, I'm not sure, actually. That's a little blurry. I had a brain injury, so some of the stuff is...
Gotcha.
But I went out when I first started driving on Valentine's Day and got a foot of snow in 30 minutes, so it was a mess. I never driven in snow either, so that was fun. I've got class from 8 a.m. to 9:30 tomorrow night.
Oh.
So I won't be doing anything tomorrow except class work, and I'll work for a couple of hours in the middle of the day. But going to try to go out this evening.
Yeah.
See how that works before my life group. So, still capped about how long I can stay out.
There you go. That's right.
It's I don't know. It's interesting. So
yeah, of course.
Another day. Hopefully, it's not the only one. So
you've got many more Valentine's Days in the future, I'd imagine. And so we'll find Cupid somewhere. We'll get the arrow shooting at some point in time when that time is to come. Alrighty. Switching gears over now. Let's see. You already talked about the reach out to you. So obviously for the longest time, let's kind of switch gears to a much serious matter. The government had shut down, it seemed like forever, and we thought this thing would never open back up, and thankfully it did. And now, I don't know if you heard or not, Congress made a deal this week, said they're not going to shut the government down Friday. And so kind of on take, what did you think about, you said, okay, here's this president, he's very proud to shut the government down. What was going through your mind saying, okay, let's turn the wheel here?
I'm going to try to find some appropriate words.
Okay.
Not that I would say anything foul, but just comparisons of people I could compare them to. They're not good, and they're not flattering in any way.
Yeah.
I was honestly, I was aggravated.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a, I love civil rights. I love people getting what they work for and what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully in a positive manner. And I had a lot of friends that didn't know where their standing was when it comes to buying their school books or paying for tuition for this semester, just because their parents have government jobs and they weren't getting paid.
Right.
And now, obviously, since they open back up, they get the back pay from what they worked, so things aren't as bad now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little cozy because you have all the money coming in at once, at least for a small time. So, but I was really aggravated, and I was aggravated at the position to put people in, and I was aggravated that even our servicemen and women weren't getting paid.
I know.
And that's something that, not to be too controversial, but I found it kind of hypocritical on the government standpoint, because when the whole football Colin Kaepernick thing was going on, it's a sign of disrespect. And as much as I support that guy, I can see the argument. I support the player, but I can see the argument of it being a sign of disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was shocked, because I have family that served as well. So when the government shut down, I was like, how is this? I feel like we're kind of saying one thing and doing another. And I know in a lot of ways it's human nature, but I was kind of really concerned. I was like, so you're telling me these people are getting shot at and getting ready to die, and their families, don't have money for food? It doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. And I think the motivation for it all was kind of selfish and self-seeking at the same time, and that's my opinion. So I was mad. I was very mad. I was frustrated, and I was kind of curious as to why it didn't get as much media attention, considering it was the longest shutdown in U.S. history.
Yeah, ever, for sure. And like I said, Congress yesterday met with everybody, and we're not going to shut the government down. We were saying, and the president did an interview yesterday saying he's not pleased with the amount of money. Obviously, he wants $5 billion, and they're saying we're not going to give you that. We'll give you a starter point of $1 amount billion. He's not pleased with it, but he said he'd go on and see how this works out. So. Yeah. That's why I say politics. I don't. It's one of those weird things. You really got to have your gripping source about what you're talking about, and like that. So we'll see what happens next year, because this is a big race happening next year, obviously. So we'll see what happens. Switching gears to another note. Today is speaking of jobs, is the internship fair. And have you been to that, or are you thinking about going to that?
I thought about it. I seriously did think about it. Actually, I didn't go last year. Mm-hmm. I went to the grad school fairs and stuff that they had. Actually, I think I might have went to it was a criminal justice specific internship fair they had last year.
Okay.
And career fair, internship / career fair. I went to that one. Actually skipped class to go. Only time I ever skipped class. It wasn't that bad. But since then I've made the decision to go to law school. So I've got I already have an internship lined up for the summer. So I thought about going, and I was going to go until I made potential Valentine's plans for today with my girlfriend. So, and then plus the whole law school thing, and plus I already have an internship, so it's kind of don't really have a reason to go. I wanted to go just to experience it and make connections.
Right.
But I don't know. Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's one of those things. Alrighty, we're going to start wrapping things up here this morning. We got our quote of the day. I kind of want a little bit of feedback from you about Oscar Wilde. And if you're curious of who Oscar Wilde is, I had to do a little bit of research myself. He's an Irish poet and playwright back in the 1800s. He became one of London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s, so that's kind of cool. And his quote saying, "Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them more." Right there for sure. Alrighty, today is obviously not Valentine's Day, but it is, that is tomorrow, National Radio Day. Perfect day for this to be broadcasting here. World Radio Day, it's what it is. So it's, what we're doing here. If you have interest in Radio Free Radford, Tristan's your way to go, or any of the staff members. You can talk with them. And the Marconi invented the radio. It goes back to almost 200 years ago in 1899. So radio's been around for the longest time. Then TV came a couple, 100 some years later beyond that. And let's see what else here. Something else I found to find is I've got a loyal viewer in Washington State who listens to the show every day, and he kind of sends me these little inspirational quotes every day. So I've got a Bible verse. I'm gonna see if you know it do you know Isaiah 26:3?
Actually, it's ironic. I don't. I've never read the book all the way through.
Alrighty, well, here's the verse of this. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is staying on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Kind of makes sense, I think, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and I think that is all we have for you this morning. Alrighty, well, appreciate you coming on and telling your story about Chi Alpha and ways they can get involved. And, of course, tonight they can go to where again? If they're interested.
Tonight we're meeting at my apartment at 601K Calhoun Street. It's an apartment complex across the street from Kobe.
Okay.
Meeting there about 7 o'clock, and then we're going to be at the game room about 8 or 8:30.
All righty, sound.
Would you mind if I made a quick announcement?
Go ahead.
So I go to a church in Woodville. I already mentioned. I go to a church called Life Changers Christian Center in Woodville, and like my church did this corporate fast, like a lot of people do at the beginning of the year. Like it's called the Daniel Fast, 21 days. So there's something that I was praying through during those 21 days, and I talked to my pastor about, and I'm actually going to be starting a ministry through my church, and some of the guys from my life group are actually going to be joining me in that, and it's a prison ministry. So we're going to be writing letters to people that are incarcerated across. Right now we have a guy in Texas and Virginia, and 5 others I think are also in Virginia. So it's just interesting, and I would like to, if anybody knows anybody that's incarcerated that might need just a slither of hope, or just to, just someone to talk to let them know that their life is not be communicating through letter and such. So yeah, it'll be interesting. If you have anybody, again, just let us know. Alrighty, sounds pretty cool for sure. Well, we're gonna wrap things up here. I know a lot of you all are probably saying, "Wow, Dustin, you're on more than you usually are." Well, I've got guests on. I want to have a little bit of fun with them this morning. We'll kick you back over to programming. I'm not exactly sure what hit station song is on, but be sure to follow Radio Free Radford, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like us, DM us, hashtag us, mention us, all that fun stuff. Follow RU Weather 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll be back with you tomorrow.